You were born to conquer, not to sit in silence scrolling through a life you're too afraid to live. The world lied to you. They told you masculinity is toxic, that ambition is dangerous, but deep down, you know they're wrong. You're not depressed, you're unfulfilled. And that fire inside, it's your purpose, trying to wake you up. Get up, become dangerous again. There's a reason you feel empty, and it's not because the world is hard, it's because you've been living a life that doesn't align with the man you were built to become. Modern society has lied to you from the very beginning. They told you masculinity is outdated, that your natural instincts to lead, protect, conquer, and dominate are problems to be solved instead of powers to be mastered. They labeled ambition as greed, strength as toxicity, aggression as violence, and dominance as oppression. And the worst part, you believed them. You sat there and swallowed the poison because it came with comfort. You traded your fire for fake peace, your edge for acceptance. But no man ever lived a fulfilled life trying to fit into a system that punishes power and glorifies weakness. You weren't created to be soft. You weren't put on this earth to be emotionally fragile, endlessly agreeable, or constantly apologetic for who you are. A man without power is invisible. A man without purpose is lost. You're not supposed to wake up at noon, waste your days scrolling, numbing yourself with meaningless content and dopamine hits, and convince yourself this is normal. That's not normal. That's slavery. Psychological, digital, emotional slavery. You're being fed pacifiers to stop you from ever realizing you were born for war. You were born for greatness. You were born to carry the weight, to walk into fire when others run, to protect your people and leave a legacy that echoes long after you're gone. That's not toxic. That's sacred. What they call toxic masculinity is often just unapologetic strength. A man who knows who he is. A man who refuses to bow to mediocrity. A man who looks in the mirror and says, no one's coming to save me, so I'll become the savior of my own damn life. You see, when a man is lost, when he has no direction, no mission, no purpose, he begins to rot slowly from the inside. That's why your energy is low. That's why you're frustrated, anxious, angry for no reason. It's not because of the world. It's because the warrior in you has been caged, sedated, silenced. You've been told to calm down, to relax, to not try so hard, and you listened. But something inside you is still awake. That voice, that inner roar, its purpose trying to wake you up. Discomfort is your compass. The more it burns, the more it means you're headed somewhere worth going. The man who chooses the hard road over the easy one is the man who becomes immortal in the eyes of history. Look around. Nothing great was ever built by a man who lived in his comfort zone. The empires, the revolutions, the breakthroughs, they came from men who were willing to suffer, sacrifice, and bleed for something beyond themselves. That's purpose. Purpose isn't a dream you chase on weekends. It's a code you live by every single day, and masculinity is the engine that drives it. The world wants to separate the two. They want men to live without purpose and call it freedom. They want to disconnect masculinity from meaning so they can control you. But a man with purpose is uncontrollable. Masculinity isn't just muscles and money. It's the discipline to show up when it's hard, the resilience to fight through pain, the presence to lead when everyone else is breaking down. It's about being the man who builds himself into a weapon, not for destruction, but for protection, a protector of his family, his tribe, his name. That's real masculinity. That's real purpose. And you won't find it in hashtags or therapy circles that teach you how to cry better. You find it through action. Through pressure, through responsibility, through becoming the kind of man who can carry a world on his shoulders and smile through it. Because here's the truth. Life is war, and the only peace you'll ever feel is when you know you're winning it. I'm not telling you this to make you feel small. I'm telling you this because you're not. You're powerful, you've just forgotten it. The fire's still in you, buried under the lies, the fear, the guilt. But it's there, and once you taste what it feels like to live with purpose, to wake up and know exactly what you're fighting for, you'll never want to go back. You'll look at your past self and feel pity, not shame, because you'll know that man was asleep. But the one in front of the mirror now, he's awake. And the world better be ready for him. Let me tell you a story. A real one. Years ago, I was broke. Not metaphorically, not spiritually, financially broken, mentally boxed in, physically cornered. I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor. No luxury, no security, just noise in my head and pressure in my chest. The kind of pressure that doesn't let you sleep, doesn't let you breathe without guilt. You feel like a ghost in your own skin, watching the world move while you're stuck in cement. And I remember sitting there staring at the ceiling thinking, is this it? Is this what life really is? A loop of waking up, surviving, and going back to bed without ever feeling like a man. It wasn't just about money, it was deeper. It was the void of purpose, the silence of having no mission. I wasn't living, I was just avoiding failure. And that's where most men are today. Numb. You're not depressed, you're unchallenged. You don't need therapy, you need a direction, a battlefield, a war to win. Because when a man doesn't have a reason to wake up, he starts dying in ways no doctor can diagnose. You lose your spirit before you lose your health. You lose your hunger before you lose your strength. And once you stop hungering for greatness, the world owns you. That night I made a vow. I swore to myself, this is the lowest I'll ever be. From here, every step is war. I didn't care about comfort anymore. I didn't need anyone's approval. I didn't want peace. I wanted pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, but more importantly, it reveals warriors. The kind of men who aren't waiting for a sign because they know they are the sign. I stopped blaming the world, stopped crying about what I didn't have, and I started building quietly, relentlessly. Every setback became a signal, every insult, fuel, every failure, a sharpened blade. I was no longer living like a civilian. I became a weapon. And let me tell you this, the transformation didn't come from motivational quotes or vision boards. It came from facing the pain, standing in it, breathing through it. Pain is the gym where masculine character is built. And I embraced it. If it hurts, it means it matters. That mindset saved my life because when you're broken, the only thing that can rebuild you is discipline, fueled by purpose. That's where masculinity becomes sacred. It's not about aggression, it's about direction. Masculinity without purpose is chaos. Masculinity fused with purpose is legendary. People ask, what was your turning point? The truth, there wasn't one. It was a million moments of choosing war over weakness, of looking in the mirror and refusing to pity myself. I wasn't trying to feel better, I was trying to be better. Masculinity taught me that being a man isn't about how you feel, it's about what you do regardless of how you feel. It's about showing up broken and still delivering. It's about being so committed to your mission that pain becomes irrelevant and quitting becomes disgusting. I became obsessed, not with success, but with becoming the kind of man who deserves success. And that's the real shift. Most men are chasing results when they should be chasing reputation with themselves. Purpose isn't found, it's earned, it's built through repetition, sacrifice, and self-respect. You don't discover it by accident. You forge it by becoming a man who cannot be ignored. A man who walks into a room and shifts the energy. A man who doesn't need to speak loudly because his presence speaks for him. Now listen carefully. The reason you're still stuck isn't because you lack potential. It's because you've let the world seduce you into comfort. They sold you entertainment when you needed enemies. They gave you distractions when you needed direction. And worst of all, they told you masculinity was dangerous. But the truth is, a man without masculinity is the real danger to himself and everyone around him. You need purpose like lungs need air. You need structure, pain, responsibility, hardship, weight. Not because life is supposed to hurt, but because through that hurt, you become indestructible. You want to feel alive again? Stop waiting to be understood and start demanding to be respected. Stop begging for comfort and start bleeding for your future. Remember who the hell you are. You're a man, built to endure, built to conquer, built to lead. That fire in your chest isn't frustration, it's your calling. Don't silence it, don't suppress it, let it roar. The world doesn't need more passive men. It needs warriors with purpose, soldiers with discipline, kings with a cause. Because in the end, your story will be written in the battles you chose to fight, not the ones you avoided. The world remembers men who stood for something. Be that man, be the storm, be the purpose walking on 2 feet. Let me ask you something real. Have you ever sat in silence and felt the time slipping through your fingers like sand, knowing deep down you're wasting it? That quiet voice in your head, the one you keep trying to mute with scrolling, noise, and distraction, is not there to annoy you. It's there to wake you up. It's your soul screaming, you are not living the life you were born for. You don't need more sleep. You don't need another night out. You don't need motivation. What you need is a fire so deep in your gut it scares you. Because you know what happens if you don't act? Regret. Real soul-crushing regret. You think you've got time, you don't. That's the biggest lie they've sold you, that you can fix your life later. There is no later. There's no reset button. Every hour you waste in comfort is an hour someone else uses to sharpen their sword. While you're watching, someone is building. While you're doubting, someone is dominating. This world isn't fair, it's ruthless. And if you're not getting stronger, you're getting weaker. There is no neutral. You are either moving forward or you're getting left behind. And let's be real, deep down you feel it. That fear you carry, it's not about failure. It's about dying as a nobody. It's about waking up one day, 40, 50, 60 years old, looking in the mirror and realizing you were built for something massive, but you chose average. That's the nightmare, not pain, not effort, but looking back and knowing you could have been powerful, respected, legendary, and instead you settled for comfort, for safety, for a job you hate and a life you resent. The truth is, most men die long before their heart stops beating. What they don't tell you is this: weakness is expensive. Weak men pay with depression, anxiety, and wasted potential. They pay with broken families, lost respect, and quiet desperation. The world doesn't care how kind you are if you're ineffective. You're not judged by your intentions, you're judged by your impact. And you can't impact anything when you're soft, scared, and purposeless. A man with no direction is a danger to himself and a liability to others. You think you're safe by avoiding risk, but that's the biggest risk of all: living without edge, without pressure, without purpose. Now listen to me, masculinity isn't toxic. Passivity is. They demonize masculine traits because they're scared of them. Not because they're evil, but because they're powerful. Leadership, discipline, rage under control, the ability to endure pain without complaint and still execute. These aren't flaws. They're superpowers. But you've been told to suppress them, to stay soft, to shrink into some politically correct version of yourself that pleases everyone but satisfies no one. That ends now. Masculinity isn't something to apologize for. It's something to cultivate, refine, and unleash with precision. You think you're broken? You're not. You're just misaligned. The fire is still in you. You've just buried it under excuses. It's time to resurrect the version of you that refuses mediocrity, that won't accept being just another man in the crowd. The world doesn't need more nice guys. It needs men who stand for something. Men who protect, men who build, men who lead with strength and live with direction. You've been lied to, told that your aggression is bad, your ambition is selfish, your desire for power is dangerous. But here's the truth. Power in the hands of a man with purpose is the safest force on earth. And if you're sitting there thinking it's too late for you, that you've wasted too much time, I promise you it's not. You're one decision away, one internal switch. You don't need approval. You don't need a plan mapped out. You just need to rise, to say no more wasting time, no more giving up, no more cowardice. This is war now. And the battlefield is your mind, your discipline, your focus, your daily habits. The enemy isn't out there. It's the weak version of you whispering in your ear every day, begging for comfort, for distraction, for escape. Crush that voice. You're not meant to hide from challenge. You're meant to dominate it. The pain you fear, that's the very thing that forges you. Growth lives in discomfort. Strength is born in chaos. Purpose is carved in pain. Every hard day you endure, every sacrifice you make, every time you train, suffer, and stay focused, that's you earning your masculinity. Not the kind they joke about, not the fake macho act, the real thing. The kind that commands respect without saying a word, the kind that brings order where there's chaos, the kind that walks into uncertainty and still moves forward without flinching. There's no backup plan. This is your life. This is your war. You don't need a second chance, you need a second gear, and it's already inside you, buried under years of softness. But I promise you, it's there, it's waiting. You don't have to be perfect, you don't have to have it all figured out, but you do have to start. And when you do, the world shifts, because when a man locks into purpose, when he breathes masculinity with clarity, when he turns fear into fuel, he becomes unstoppable. And the world remembers unstoppable men. There comes a point in every man's life when he must look in the mirror and either evolve or rot. No one's coming to push you. No one's waking you up. No one's handing you a roadmap. It's you against the world, and the only thing that separates kings from cowards is this: relentless execution. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to wait for permission. The moment you decide that you will move regardless of how you feel, that's the moment you become untouchable. That's the moment the weak version of you dies and the real you steps into the light. Masculinity isn't found in comfort, it's found in pressure, in choosing the harder path every time, in standing tall when everything inside of you wants to fold. The masculine man walks toward the storm, not away from it. He doesn't avoid responsibility, he hunts it down. He doesn't cry for fairness, he makes things happen through sheer force of will. You don't grow by escaping pain, you grow by enduring it until it changes you. That's what men were built for. Struggle isn't the enemy, it's the gateway. Every rep in the gym, every early morning, every sacrifice, every hard choice, it all forges you into someone this world can't ignore. You want to be respected? Build yourself into a man who demands it without ever needing to ask. Not by words, but by actions, by presence. Walk into a room and let your discipline do the talking. Let your results echo louder than any speech. You become undeniable when you refuse to break. The man who can't be broken becomes the man who controls the room. They might doubt you, let them. They might hate you, let them. Because in the end, respect is never given to those who blend in. It's reserved for those who rise above. Purpose isn't a cute idea, it's a necessity. A man without purpose is just a ghost wearing flesh. You wake up, eat, scroll, survive, but you don't live. You drift through life numb, distracted, sedated by entertainment, caffeine, and validation. But a man with purpose, he's dangerous, he's focused, he doesn't need escape because he's addicted to the mission. Every breath is calculated, every move matters. He's not alive to chase pleasure, he's here to build something eternal. And that kind of man can't be manipulated, can't be broken, can't be stopped. If you want a different life, you need to become a different man. And that transformation isn't pretty. It's not romantic. It's early mornings when you're dead tired. It's silence when you want distraction. It's grinding when no one is clapping. It's sacrifice without applause. Progress without recognition. The real glow up is private. The real transformation happens in the dark. Stop waiting for the world to reward you for doing the bare minimum. That's not masculine, that's weak. Masculine energy isn't reactive, it's proactive. It doesn't wait for motivation, it creates momentum. Every day, no matter how hard, no matter how lonely, no matter how heavy the burden gets, you have one shot at this life, one timeline, one heartbeat. Why would you spend it living like you're disposable? Why would you waste it trying to impress people who don't even respect themselves? There's a reason every man feels the call for more, that itch deep inside that says, you're meant for greatness. It's not arrogance, it's your soul trying to shake you awake. But if you keep ignoring it, distracting it, suppressing it, then you deserve the emptiness that follows. Because the pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of knowing you could have been legendary and chose comfort instead. Be harder to kill, be sharper in thought, be relentless in your pursuit. Comfort is the poison, discipline is the cure. Stop running from the resistance. Resistance is the compass. If it's hard, it's probably exactly what you need to be doing. If it scares you, good. That means it's the next step. And if nobody believes in you, even better, that means you'll build this with zero applause and maximum power. Because the man who believes in himself is more lethal than a crowd of doubters. This isn't about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about becoming so consistent, so locked in that people mistake you for a machine. You become the kind of man who makes discipline look like instinct. Wake up when you don't want to. Train when it hurts. Work when no one's watching. Create results so real they echo for decades. Purpose is not found in words, it's proven in action. Masculinity is not something you wear, it's something you earn every day through blood, sweat, and sacrifice. And here's the final truth. Your future is watching you. Every choice you make today either builds the man you respect or feeds the one you resent. You're either stacking wins or stacking regrets. There is no third option. And when you realize that, when you accept that the life you want will not be handed to you, that it must be taken with force, then everything changes. The distractions disappear, the laziness dies, the excuses evaporate, and what's left is a man of undeniable purpose, raw strength, and unshakable masculinity. Because in the end, the world bends for men who bend for nothing. You've heard the truth. Now the question is simple. What are you going to do with it? Will you keep scrolling, keep making excuses, keep pretending you've got more time when your clock is already ticking? Or will you finally stand the heck up, look in the mirror, and say, I'm done living soft, I'm done living lost, I'm done being less than I was born to be? Because no one is coming to save you. No one's handing you a crown. You either take control or you stay controlled. That's the reality every man has to face. That's the brutal line between existence and dominance. There is no point collecting motivation like trophies if you never move. There's no glory in watching greatness if you don't chase it yourself. You're not supposed to admire other men from the sidelines. You're supposed to join them in the arena. And don't tell me you're too tired, too late, too far gone. That's weakness disguised as logic. That's fear pretending to be realism. The man who is willing to begin again, no matter how many times he's failed, is the man who will win eventually. This life isn't about having the perfect starting point. It's about having the balls to start it all. Masculinity without purpose is like a loaded weapon with no target, dangerous, directionless, and wasted. You are not built to be aimless. You are not designed to coast through life hoping for luck or comfort. You are crafted for conquest, for building, protecting, leading, and enduring. A man's soul starves when his mission is ignored. That voice in your head, that relentless itch for more, that's not some fantasy. That's your higher self screaming for war. And the longer you silence it, the louder your regret will become. Regret is a slow, humiliating death. Purpose is pain, but it's the kind that builds. And if you don't pick your pain, life will do it for you, and it won't be kind. Stop waiting for inspiration to strike. Stop waiting for the perfect day. You create your future by outworking who you were yesterday, every single day. And that takes fire. It takes obsession. It takes a level of ruthlessness with yourself that most people will never understand. While they sleep, you grind. While they complain, you improve. While they run from pressure, you chase it down and crush it. Success isn't owned, it's rented, and rent is due every single day. That is masculinity, that is purpose, that is war. You want to change? Then act like it. Delete the comfort, starve the excuses, burn the bridges that lead back to weakness. Make your goals public, make your effort undeniable, make your presence felt by every room you walk into. The man of purpose doesn't shrink for anyone, he expands so much that others either level up or get out of his way. And no, it won't be easy, it's not supposed to be. If it was easy, you'd be surrounded by warriors instead of weaklings. The fact that it's hard is the very reason it's worth it. You've got one body, one mind, one lifetime. You think God, the universe, whatever force you believe in, gave you breath so you could just survive, just get by, just blend in and hope nobody notices your mediocrity? Hell no. You were made to lead, to impact, to build something so unshakable that your great-grandchildren still speak your name with pride. But that legacy doesn't write itself. It's written in sweat, in pain, in the lonely nights when no one believes in you, but you keep going anyway. That's the price of greatness. And you either pay it now or you spend your life envying those who did. So here's the call. Do something brutal today, something uncomfortable, something your old self would have never dared to do. Break the cycle, kill the coward inside, choose the path of resistance. If you've been soft, become sharp. If you've been lost, choose direction. If you've been hiding from responsibility, grab it by the throat and own it, because the man who chooses his struggle earns the right to own his future. From this moment forward, no more playing small, no more apologizing for being intense, no more hiding your ambition just to make average people feel comfortable. Step into your masculine power without shame, without hesitation, and without effing compromise. Let them call it arrogance, let them call it toxic, let them misunderstand you. That's not your concern. Your concern is this: when you die, will you die full of regrets or full of scars from battles you actually fought? There is a version of you that terrifies the man you are right now. A version so powerful, so disciplined, so razor sharp in purpose that even your enemies would respect him. That version exists, but he doesn't show up through wishes or waiting. He shows up when you decide once and for all to go to war for him. So decide right now to become him or stay the same. But if you stay the same, remember, every second you waste, another man becomes the beast you were supposed to be.